that okay? I'd firstly like to acknowledge Sylvia Clark and Sally Maxwell as the creators of this idea. They've done a lot of hard work over the last 4 years or so on this project. And I'd also like to acknowledge Callie Nicolai, who took this beautiful photo of a dragonfly larvae exoskeleton. So Waterwatch is probably one of the longest running citizen science projects in South Australia. It was started as a national scheme in the early 1990s as a way to engage and educate community on catchment health and water quality. We've been running consistently for the last 25 years in the SA Murray-Darling Basin, and it's also a very popular program still on the East Coast. So as I said, it's really important for community education and engagement, but when we looked into the research side of this citizen science project, spoke to the scientists, we realised that nobody was actually willing to use the data. Scientists said, how do we know that this data's been collected in a scientific way? How do we know that the volunteers have calibrated their equipment properly, for example? So we saw that as a real point of tension, frustration for the volunteers who are putting in these hours of time to collect the data, and also frustration for the scientists who needed this information for important work that they didn't have the capacity to go out and collect water quality and macroinvertebrate data themselves, and also the potential for policy and planning uses as we are a government department. So we came up with the Waterbug Bioblitz idea, and as Alejandro very nicely introduced, thank you. It's now been used in KI, looking at using it in the AMLR. What Bioblitz is when you bring the community together with scientists and you go to one site on one day and collect as much biodiversity information as possible. So we're running these events now in the Angus, Finnis, Marne, looking at Bremer Barker, and also in some local wetlands. So we choose multiple sites across the catchment, we bring in the community, we bring in aquatic ecologists, thank you, and we collect water quality and macroinvertebrate data at each site. We set up a little hub in the community, so in a natural resource office or a town hall, and we can work together, scientists, citizen science practitioners and the catchment groups or landholders who come along and sort through the macroinvertebrates and have this assurance of quality of data. So as I said, this Waterbug Bioblitz has been co-designed with the community and with the scientists. We do the co-monitoring at the Bioblitz events. Co-interpretation is a work in progress at the moment. We've run one community workshop where we sat down with the participants and talked through the results. Gary's here today, who was there. It's been really great to have the volunteers look at the results with us and have a chat about what we can see, how we'd like to move forward. We've got 2 years worth of data now, so we're looking at putting together a community report so that the volunteers feel very strongly that they would like to report out to the wider community, so to get everyone engaged in catchment health in these communities. I think that's it. Thank you.